1, go. LeBron James and company will make their first ever visit to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. This is Across the Board with Jeff Grant here at SBRforum.com. Going to take it one of the primetime matchups on Wednesday night in the NBA. That would be the Miami Heat versus the Brooklyn Nets at the Barclays Center. Heat are listed as 2-point road favorites, while the total is sitting at 189, 189.5 in the betting market. More on that at the end of the video. When you look at the Miami Heat, they had their 4-game win streak snapped last time out in a 198 double overtime loss to the Boston Celtics as 5.5-point road favorites. That was a very disappointing defeat given the fact that Rajon Rondo, the star point guard and all-star starter for the Eastern Conference, was injured in that game, and he's since been listed out for the entire year with a torn ACL, so Miami couldn't get it done against Boston without one of its best players. I think the team may lack a little offensive focus at the beginning of this one. They've had a bit of a relive moment of their NBA championship. They visited President Barack Obama at the White House on Monday, and also with the time off, being in DC and then flying into New York or taking a train, whatever it may be. It may have been a little party time for this team to relive that moment. So I expect maybe a sluggish start for the Heat at the beginning of this one. Also, Chris Bosh, starting center, is listed as probable with a toe injury, was unable to practice on Tuesday. He may be slowed down a little bit, and when he's not right, we've seen how this offense struggles without his presence in the post and the ability to knock down that outside shot from about 16 to 18 feet. It showed up in a major way in their Eastern Conference playoff series against Indiana Pacers, so he may be slowed a little bit in this one. The Heat have won 12 straight games against the Nets. That is currently their longest winning streak against any NBA opponent, so that's very interesting to point out. When handicapping this game, they're already 2-0 straight up and against the spread in this series, but both of those games happened at the AAA in South Beach, with both of those going under the total. The Heat, not one of their best betting trend situations, 0-4 against the spread, 4-0 to the under when laying 3 points or less away from Miami. They haven't gone over the total in 4 consecutive games all season. They've done so in 3 consecutive coming into this one. Yes, they should have probably gone under the total against Boston with that one going to double overtime, but for the sake of the video and looking at the past performances, it is one of the tools that I'll often look at when determining a play, and I think maybe this streak ends with this one going under the total. When you look at the Brooklyn Nets, this is arguably their biggest game of the season for a lot of factors. Of course, they've already lost 12 straight in this series, so that is a motivating factor that Joe Johnson, the first-year guard who came over from the Atlanta Hawks, has already mentioned that they're looking to put forth their best effort on Wednesday night. And also, they are 13-4 under interim head coach P.J. Carlesimo, who took over after the firing of Avery Johnson. 17-7 at home. This is the first year that the Nets have obviously played at the Barclays Center. 13-3 in those games versus Eastern Conference opponents, and they're riding an 8-game home winning streak, so it really sets up for a battle in this Eastern Conference matchup. 2-0 against the spread as home underdogs of 3 points or less, but the trend that I like even more with that, both of those went under the total, and this team has had great success this season when holding teams under 100 points. So I think they're going to bring it on the defensive end, and they're going to need to, because even though he's listed as probable in this game, point guard Deron Williams was unable to practice on Tuesday due to suffering from flu-like symptoms. And from what I've been hearing around the country, if you've picked up any type of flu in the last month and a half, you've been knocked down a little bit. So expect maybe a tempered pace rather than their up-tempo pace that they've shown under the 17 games during the P.J. Carlesimo era as interim head coach. With all that being said, I think this number is going to rise even further because of Bosh and Deron Williams listed as probable. I think everybody has a good sense that they are going to play in this game, and I could see this hitting 190.5 before falling back and possibly settling at 190. But right now, shooting this early Wednesday morning in Las Vegas, I'm going to pick under 189.5 between the Miami Heat versus the Brooklyn Nets. This has been another edition of Across the Board with Jeff Grant here at SBRforum.com. For any further information on this game or any other on one of the better NBA boards of the week, you can follow me on Twitter @JeffGrantSports. Cut.